What's going on YouTube? This is IBM with Comic Book Aficionados, and I just saw the Thor movie. I'm so excited. Thor got me all pumped up for the God of Thunder, seeing hammers fly. And of course I had to bring up, Thor God of Thunder, the comic. Now of course we all want to hear, what does IBM really got to say about Thor? Thor is epic. What more can really be said about Thor? Well, I want you to know that plenty more can be said about Thor. Don't you just love how all of it rhymes? Even his villain in Thor God of Thunder rhymes with Thor. He is called Gorr the God Butcher. Literally an outcast of his people who disdains away from the gods. He just hates the gods, especially because the gods, when he prayed to the gods, they didn't save his kids. That was pretty much it. The gods did not save his family or his people. His people were looking like, do not blaspheme, don't say this about the gods. And then Gorr was looking like, don't you dare talk to me like that. When I prayed, they should have came here. I asked for their help. Why did that guy get help, but I didn't get help? Of course he was an angry father, had to bury his children. He's going along as he got banished. His people were outcasting him, so of course he got banished. He sees light fall from the heavens, and it was two gods in combat. And as you see, one was a dark god, and the other one was a god from who knows what alien pantheon, but there are plenty of alien gods. And that's what this book explains more. But he takes a piece of the dark god and he kills the other god as that god asked him for help. That god asked him to pray to him, to give him the strength to move beyond his injuries, because of course gods get powers from prayers. And Gorr was looking like, you dare God, you dare come to me and ask for me to pray to you? Where were you when I needed help? Stabs him in the chest with the dark god's weapon, and he's looking like, that's how this ends. God of War, we've all played the game. Walks off, and then he goes, getting imbued with power. And as he sees the dark power swarm up on him, it takes the powers from both dead gods. So now essentially Gorr has two gods in him. And then he goes, well, it was easy killing that god. I wonder how much easier it would be to kill all the other gods. And goes on a rampage throughout the universe, killing pantheons of gods. Which then, of course, leads up to our main man, Thor. Because he has the hammer. He is the God of Thunder. Going along, Thor is going about his day. He starts to see and notice that gods are dying. Because, of course, all gods are connected in some way, He sensed the alien pantheon, was investigating. He was looking like all these gods were butchered. What could have possibly happened? And obviously, he wasn't ready because, Bob the Builder, I smashed him. Walked off. Then he was looking like, oh, man, where did all these dead alien gods come from? Who could possibly be doing this? And as our Thor is investigating, and, Iron Man comes down and asks him, oh, Thor, what seems to be the problem? And Thor is looking like, Iron Man, you can go have your drinks over there. I'm doing God stuff right now. But you know what? You're my friend, so I'll let you know. Finding dead gods, which is obviously a problem because, a god is serious. Gods ain't nothing to just mess with. You don't just roll on a god. Of course, now we have to see young Thor before the hammer was given to him. And he was all, battle and glory, and I sleep with women and I drink beer and I just love it because I'm Thor. Jump into battle. This is before he flew, so of course he just jumped off a mountain or something onto the scene and just started smashing stuff, cutting people in half, fighting off goblins, fighting off elves, doing this and that. He gets caught by Gorr, surprisingly enough. Gets caught by Gorr, is chained up in a cave. This is one of IBM's favorite scenes. Is chained up in a cave and Gorr is talking all kinds of mess. I tortured the God of Thunder. I tortured the God of Thunder, and then I tortured the God of Torture. And in a day, the God of Torture gave up his own children to save his life. And I was looking like, oh snap, Gorr making some serious claims here. But then of course Thor spits in his face and was looking like, yo, you messing with the wrong God. Obviously, you have not seen my legend. Of course, you punked all those other gods, but this is Thor we're talking about. Recognize who you're talking to right now. So much so that Vikings found the cave and would look like Thor is being held in that cave. We will not let our god go down like this. And the Vikings came in and were like, for Asgard! And stormed Gorr and were stabbing him up and slashing him. I ain't never seen humans get down like that. They were just, they were gang stomping Gorr. for like a whole good 10 minutes, they were gang stomping Gore. And Gore was like, why are you doing this? Why? The gods will never help you. And then they were like, shut up, you don't know Thor, he's our homie. Stabbed them through the mouth and everything. And then eventually, of course, Gore butchered them all, because it's Gore, the god butcher. If he can butcher gods, you know he can butcher men. But in this moment, Thor gets free, picks up his axe, and cuts off Gore's arm. And Gore's looking like, oh, my arm, and flies off into the darkness. And, you know, now you're seeing the whole scene from young Thor to what's happening with our Thor and how he recognizes the butcherings that are happening. And then now, as those two go along, it gets to the point with older Thor, where he has the All-Father beard, he has the super armor, you know, he even has like the Destroyer armor on one arm, you know, just a little spoiler there, give that to you. But then he has Mjolnir in one hand and the sword in the other, and he's going in and he's going into battle, and then you're seeing that the creatures he's fighting is the same creatures that our Thor fought in the Pantheon, you know, discovering all these dead guys. Wondering where, you know, now we're starting to figure out where these dark creatures are coming from. Lo and behold, these creatures serve Gore. They are Gore's minions. And as old Thor is going down, smashing them, slashing them, you know, breaking heads, going through, they eventually overwhelm him and beat him down. But they don't kill him. They put him back on the throne, like in all kinds of like Viking honor, like each one lifts up a piece of him, and like they're looking like, yeah, we'll carry you, Thor, to the throne because you were such a respectable warrior. And then you learn that they carry him there because Thor has become Gore's favorite god. Lo and behold, after the man cut off his arm, Gore went, obviously Thor is something serious. Thor is a god to respect. Therefore, I have to break him even more, so like all the gods can know, like, because Thor was like, never has like a god ever challenged me this much, like, never has this god gotten so many prayers, and aliens have prayed to Thor, and humans have prayed to Thor, and like, it was just seeing how respectable of a god Thor is. But, of course, you know, this is how IBM is seeing it. I definitely want to hear how you're seeing it if you're reading Thor God of Thunder, and if you're not, definitely check it out. But leave your comments down below. Check us out on Facebook. If you love us, subscribe to us on YouTube, because, you know, look at us. We're comic book aficionados. We're just awesome. And, you know, we are never going to, like, dissuade you from what's happening in the comic. We're going to make it grand and great like it's always meant to be. Grand and great. IBM out.